Hi, this is Fred Weems. Hope you like my overhead light without the shade. This is an essay called Extended Play. I wrote it about a week ago. It's the only thing I've written about the Beatles that I thought was any good. Um, and it takes about 5 minutes, I think, maybe a little less. Extended Play. I've been listening lately to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band straight through. For most of my life, I've skipped She's Leaving Home, and for most of my life, I've replayed Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite 2 or 3 times in a row. It was more fun doing that when I had a tone arm to lift, withdraw, or advance and drop. I'm going to read that sentence again because I flubbed it. It was more fun doing that when I had a tone arm to lift, withdraw, or advance and drop. It gave the skipping and the replaying an editorial twist. Having played the album 5 or 6 times in the last few days, I can't help thinking it is almost tailor-made for Brian Epstein. Every Beatles aficionado knows the Beatles manager died less than 6 months after this album came out. How curious that one of the themes of Sgt. Pepper's is presentation. We have an MC interrupting the public preening of the titular band in order to introduce another singer who begs the audience to forgive the fact he may sing off-key. His act is followed by a description of a painting, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. If it is not overtly about a painting, it is certainly about perception. What else is showbiz about? Getting better doesn't involve an impresario or an act or an artwork, but if you will, it is about self-improvement, which is always about putting on a better front. Fixing a hole is, at least on one level, about home improvement. She's Leaving Home is narrated in the present tense and is, in that respect, a set of stage directions. And then we get to a world Brian Epstein absolutely understood. Carnival advertisement. Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite is the glorification of getting people to come to the show. It is a sung text of a mid-19th century circus poster. That it is an example of John Lennon's ability to convey excitement in almost any text is obvious, but it is the subject matter that counts here. This is unironic love for hucksterism. Surely at least a fifth of Beatlemania was press sought and won by a brilliant man. Brian Epstein was the fifth Beatle, after all. Shall we flip the record over? What's showbiz about Within You Without You? Oh, come on, the act goes legit. The song is an entire concert for the highbrows who finally ponied up to see the act you've known for all these years. P.T. Barnum put on serious plays at his museum, and Within You Without You is high art. George made it extra showbiz by suggesting that a sound of the audience laughing should be put at the end. He wanted to imply that seriousness did not mean morbid solemnity. Next, Paul keeps the seats full with his best granny song and its follow-up. That double whammy is When I'm 64 and Lovely Rita, songs for squares but crowd pleasers. John goes Joycean with Good Morning, Good Morning. Any showbiz here? Yes. Names of British TV shows are sewn in seamlessly. We Yanks don't notice them, and in typical John and James Joyce fashion, the wordplay is secondary to the depiction of the human condition. An essentially lonely man goes about his mundane day, feels a little alive when he sees the skirts, but remembers he is married. Good morning indeed. And then the rapid closing that is Sgt. Pepper reprise, followed by the most epic showstopper in the career of the lovable lads from Liverpool, A Day in the Life. It actually ends in a more or less postmodern nod to the ending note of any symphony by Beethoven. Again, John works a reference to a particular showbiz property into the lyrics. A movie he starred in and which failed at the box office was How I Won the War. Hence, I saw a film today, oh boy. The English army had just won the war. A crowd of people turned away. But I just had to look, having read the book. Philip Larkin couldn't have come up with a better epitaph for Britain's dead victory. I'd like to think Brian Epstein had Sgt. Pepper's on the platter as he subsided in his final overdose. I'm going to read that again because the battery went. I'd like to think Brian Epstein had Sgt. Pepper's on the platter as he subsided in his final overdose. 2 years before Stonewall, this pariah had seen those straight, luckless boys attain the pinnacle of fame, respectability, and power. The shocking orchestral clap of thunder woke him, perhaps, as his curtain fell, and as he left the living, the inner groove the Beatles would experience over and over the rest of their lives played to the deaf ears of a dead friend.